So, yeah, good day, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening for all of you. It's afternoon here, just finished lunchtime. And yeah, my name is Fitria Dwi Ayuningtyas. I'm from Indonesia, and I'm very honored to speak in this Global BioImaging Spotlight seminar. Thank you for inviting me. And today, I would like to take you on a journey, one that began in Bandung, Indonesia, very small city, not the capital city. Maybe some of you know Jakarta or Bali in Indonesia, but this is a small city next to Jakarta. We call it Bandung. And the journey started here, led me into a career that I never planned, but I deeply cherish, to becoming an imaging scientist in a place where this role didn't formally exist. So, yeah, this presentation, I tried to give a title for this presentation. Uh, it's Forging a Path as an Imaging Scientist in Indonesia, the Challenges, Growth, and Purpose. Yeah, I will introduce more about myself. I was born and raised in Bandung, Indonesia. And in Bandung, we have this very old university. We call it ITB, Institute of Technology Bandung. And I spent, yeah, some of my time there to study biology and biotechnology in ITB. And then after that, I pursue my PhD in engineering at Osaka University in Japan. So yeah, initially my research focus is doing research in cell biology, stem cell mechanobiology, exosome, and yeah, something like that, tissue engineering. But then it was through this this research expertise, I tried to develop that what was happening is I led to the imaging. So at first, as a user, as a scientist in cell biology, imaging is just a technique I use to investigate the cell, to know more about the cells. But then, yeah, imaging become more than a tool. And for me, it was a bridge between the discipline, between what is visible and invisible. And then I realized something, that this bridge was missing back home in Indonesia. So when I was finished my PhD and come back to Indonesia, I joined as a postdoctoral fellow in Research Center of Nanoscience and Nanotechnology in ITB. And during my postdoc fellow, I got the opportunity to manage the joint laboratory between ITB and Olympus Microscope. They have this joint laboratory, very small laboratory, only equipped by one confocal and one wide field microscope. But yeah, since I was doing research using a lot of this imaging technique, I was assigned to manage this laboratory at the time. And then start from there, I try to understand more about this imaging technique and what's the possibility in future. Then I dig deeper about that and found the GBI. And then I learned from the GBI many course there. I try to learn because I have to manage this laboratory. And then it's very interested for me. That's why there's a growing interest and expertise in me to learn more about bioimaging technique, about the image processing. And there's also, when the interest is growing, the opportunity also open. So I try to forge the career path in the bioimaging. So at first, I'm a biologist, cell biologist, and I have a fascinating experience about biology and cells. And then I try to use the imaging technique as a bridge to understand that. But then the multidisciplinary science is more appealing to understand more about the technique, about the instrument. And then I realized there's a research gap in Indonesia. Then after that, the opportunity opened. So when I forged the career as an imaging scientist, there's some steps there. The initial step is I stepping into this imaging world. opening the GBI website, learning about microscopy and so on. And then I found the application for job shadowing program. That's why I talked to Joanna earlier. It's very fruitful experience for me because when I joined the job shadowing program, I was sent to Okinawa at the time to OIS, and I learned a lot about how to manage a laboratory, how to manage a core facility, and also I learned about the microscopy technique. That that thing is I couldn't found that in Indonesia. So there's still no ecosystem of imaging scientists, no core facility of imaging in Indonesia. So the first is only this imaging laboratory started by collaboration between academic institution, ITB, and the industry at the time, Affiden or Olympus. So I just found that, and yeah, then the turning point coming, I realized the potential of core imaging facilities developed in Indonesia, and it can increase the research quality in Indonesia or the development or career path as an imaging scientist. Then by learning, making a network through this program from GBI and other program like workshop and everything, I try to join and learn. So the expertise was expanding for me from basic imaging, then to learn advanced application, and then I don't know. I never declare myself as an imaging scientist, but now I get involved in the imaging community, Southeast Asia, and also the people in the GBI. So yeah, they all said to me like, "Oh, now you are an imaging scientist." So yeah, I do believe now I become a imaging scientist. Hopefully, if everybody agree. Yeah, so that's my journey. Very small journey. This is what I have during the job shadowing program. So I met a lot of imaging scientists that I never knew it exists before, because in Indonesia there is no such an imaging scientist. There's a lot of biologists, a lot of biotechnologists, medical scientists, engineer, and everything, and they never know about the imaging scientists because for them the imaging is just a tools to support their research. So there's no such thing about the imaging scientist. There's yeah, it's quite new. When I come to Okinawa, there's a group of people managing the core facility, and I learned from them the well established imaging facility and how to manage them. And they have a title as an imaging specialist or imaging scientist. And yeah, my mentor, Shinya Komoto, explained me a lot about this imaging scientist. Even it's hard to be recognized in a global also, but yeah, step by step, now global community has accepted and recognized the imaging scientists. So yeah, from after this program, after I come back from this job shadowing program, um, yeah, I try to pursue and try to develop this recognition in Indonesia and building awareness in Indonesia to introduce them that there is such a career path as an imaging scientist, and I think we should have one also in Indonesia. This career path. And yeah, then I also got into this workshop in 2024 last year, and from this workshop I met more people from GBI, and I get connected not only from people from GBI or people from Okinawa, but also uh, the yeah the same early career scientists or early career imaging scientists from Southeast Asia. And starting from this Okinawa microscopy workshop, some of us are still connected until now. And yeah, we then making a community in Southeast Asia, because previously also we haven't have this community in Southeast Asia. I think in Singapore they already have a well-established one, the community single scope, if I'm not mistaken. But in Southeast Asia, the whole Southeast Asia community, there's still none of the imaging community. So after this workshop, we try to collaborate each other between each country in Southeast Asia. And now we have this just recently launched the iSEA, Imaging Southeast Asia. So yeah, we connected and we tried to make an activity together, sharing experience and also making a stronger network between imaging scientists in Southeast Asia, and how hopefully it can contribute to our career path, because it's very important to have a recognition. Global now it's already recognized, and then maybe we can be recognized in around Southeast Asia, and then later in the regional community, hopefully it can be developed also. So that's the personal journey for me from a biologist to become an imaging scientist now. And yeah, after I back to Indonesia at the time, after finishing my PhD, then I joined and manage this laboratory. This is the joint laboratory between industry and academic institution. The first, they call it IOBC, but then after I gaining knowledge about how to manage a facility, how to develop the facility, now we have a transformation. On 2024, we have a transformation from IOBC to become the center, scientific imaging center, and it getting bigger. It develop more, like we add more equipment also in the center. Not as big as what I see during my job shadowing in Okinawa, still far, but yeah, it's a baby step development. Yeah, but I'm very happy that we can develop that one small laboratory that only equipped with 2 instruments at the time to now become like a center of excellence in ITB, and it's already assigned as a core facility, and it's a multi-user microscopy facility with quite advanced instrument, if you say it in Indonesia, but maybe if compared to like EMPL or other microscopy facility, we still baby, we still baby. But yeah, I'm very happy that it's developed very well. So this is a three-party who support the development of this scientific imaging center. The first is the academic institution, Institute Technology Bandung, and Evident Microscope, Evident Singapore especially, who supported us. And WPM is the distributor company in Indonesia for Evident Microscope. So these three parties support us a lot. If we only wait the academic institution to make this kind of core facility, I don't know when it's gonna happen in Indonesia. It will take very long because many constraints, many challenges that I will explain later. And lucky we have support from these two companies and from the industrial partner who can support us to develop this scientific imaging center. And yeah, this is history. Actually, it's not just recently the development. So it's already started. The collaboration laboratory started since 2014, but to be and to be developed well as now as I see, it took 10 years. And it's still fully supported from the company or industrial partner. I don't know, maybe it will take longer time if we just waiting the academic institution in Indonesia to develop this kind of facility. Yeah, so even though we got the fully supported industrial partner, it still took quite long time, 10 years, until now become a center of excellence like SIC. And yeah, maybe I want to show you a little bit about the video of like development of this imaging facility. I hope you can enjoy.
The establishment of an imaging center by Olympus, now evident, in Indonesia began in 2014, exactly 1 decade ago. That year, the first bioimaging center in Indonesia was inaugurated through a collaboration between Universitas Indonesia and Olympus Life Science under the name UI Olympus Bioimaging Center, or UOBC. In 2018, UOBC was relocated to the campus of Institut Teknologi Bandung, or ITB, and re-inaugurated the same year with a new name, the ITB Olympus Bioimaging Center, or IOBC. From 2018 to the 2024, IOBC served as a collaborative laboratory between ITB and Olympus as industry's partner. Aligned with its vision and mission, IOBC provided support to researchers across Indonesia through educational initiatives, including workshop, training session, seminars, and lectures. It also contributed to advancing Indonesians' research by offering access to advanced imaging instruments housed at the facility. The instrument placed by Olympus microscope at IOBC included two advanced microscopes, the inverted fluorescence microscope type EX73 and the confocal laser scanning microscope type AV1200. Due to the high research productivity and activities conducted at IOBC, in 2024, ITB and its industry partner, Olympus, now renamed Evident, and PT Wadia Prima Mulia, the authorized distributor of Olympus microscope in Indonesia, agreed to expand the laboratory to further support researchers across Indonesia. This year, IOBC transformed into the Scientific Imaging Center, or SIC, and underwent significant infrastructures upgrade, including the addition of laboratory spaces and enhancing imaging instruments accessible to researchers nationwide. The new SIC facilities include expanded laboratory areas such as sample preparation area, a microscope observation area, analysis and processing facilities, and a meeting room. It has also been equipped with a new instrument, including the latest Olympus confocal laser scanning microscope, FA3000, and a desktop scanning electron microscope from Thermo Fisher Scientific. Additionally, an offline workstation with analysis and data processing software is now available. Starting in 2025, the SIC facility will be open to all researchers in Indonesia to support imaging-related research. SIC was also regularly host annual public training and workshop events, as well as engage in collaborative research within its imaging specialists. We hope that the establishment of SIC will foster a thriving community of imaging research in Indonesia and contribute to improving the quality of research across the nation.
So yeah, that's the development of the IOBC to SIC, and we still develop more and more each time. So yeah, every time still developing. So hopefully, in future it can be like bigger than this and more productive than this now. So our vision and mission is to um, introduce the state-of-art imaging technologies in Indonesia, support the advanced research in Indonesia, and contribute to the education and high quality the human resource development. And yeah, we model this is a organization structure, and we model our facility management after best practice from Global BioImaging. Actually, I follow the job description and organization through this GBI career path reference, because at first there's only me, just one person managing the laboratory, the IOBC laboratory. So I keep learning more, especially from the GBI, because GBI provide many references, especially for the job description and organization. And yeah, now we have this day-to-day team as a like organization structure. The bigger organization structure is here from ITB. We are under the Directory of Research and Innovation, and our advisory board are from the three-party collaboration from ITB, from Evidence Singapore, and also from the distributor company. But day to day, who manage this center now is a director. Our director is from ITB, Professor Dr. Anggraini Barlian, and we already recruited our scientific officer following these GBI career path references, because yeah, in our institution in ITV there's no references for core facility and how to recruit a new staff in the facility. We have no references, so I follow the GBI career path references at the time when recruiting our scientific officer, and hopefully next time we will recruit more as a development is going yeah, through time. So yeah, now there's three of us managing this center, and yeah, we provide technical assistance, experimental consultation, user training, and always with an eye of capacity building. We want to introduce to researcher in Indonesia, to academic institution in Indonesia, that we have this career path as an imaging scientist, or we want to making awareness in the researcher of Indonesia that this is one of the option to become an imaging scientist. Also, we want to building awareness about the microscopy itself, the imaging technique itself. That's why we get involved. This is our core activity. We get involved in academic sport, not only in our institution but also in other institution in Indonesia, and doing research support, collaboration, consultation, user training for the researcher who want to use the imaging equipment here. Also, we become the reference imaging laboratory for institution who want to build the imaging laboratory in their institution, and especially we want to involve in the community development. I don't want what happening during my journey to find my career path was happened to somebody else in Indonesia later, that they don't have any reference at first and they need to dig more about what is imaging scientist and how to become one. So yeah, we want to provide that through SIC, to our imaging center. If somebody wants to get involved in the community of imaging, or they want to pursue career path as an imaging scientist, or even they just started to getting interest with the imaging technique, we want to provide as much information as we know here. And yeah, this is the flow of support. So actually, this flow of support we applied in SIC also. We develop during the job shadowing, after job shadowing program. So as I said to Joanna before, the job shadowing program from GBI is very fruitful for me, because after that I know how to manage the laboratory, the facility, and how to make this flow of support and how to conduct research support for researcher in Indonesia. Yeah, so we apply this as a result from the job shadowing program, especially. And then now let's zoom out about the condition in Indonesia. So this is a challenge, growth, and purpose of imaging landscape in Indonesia. Indonesia imaging landscape maybe not developed much as in many countries. If we compare in Southeast Asia, even to Thailand, maybe better, or Malaysia and Singapore have a better imaging landscape. Indonesia biggest problem is we are a very big country. Like from yeah, I don't know exactly how big is it, but we consist of many islands, and from the west point to the east point is like very big. And yeah, we even have 3 time difference. So um, 3 time difference within one country, so it's yeah, difficult to get the even distribution of everything. So many things are concentrated in the capital city or in the island where capital city are belong. We call it Java Island. Luckily, I was born and raised here and working here also in still in Java Island. So that's the most developed part in Indonesia. And if we see the imaging landscape here, we have several microscopy laboratory in the biggest or in the major university in Indonesia. So currently there are 7 and 8 with ITB, 8 major university who already have microscopy laboratory. We said like a basic microscopy is widely available all across the country, but this microscopy laboratory is a laboratory who holds such advanced microscopy, for example, confocal or SAM, scanning electron microscope, or TEM. So that's the microscope laboratory. But as we see here, for example, in IPB, UGM, the microscopy laboratory is just like small or one microscopy laboratory who have confocal and belong to the faculty, such as like that. And if we see the confocal distribution, for example, one university only have one from this 8 university. So if I compare where I was study in Japan, every laboratory already have confocal, but in Indonesia, one major university only have one confocal, so everybody use it, and even from other island, from other city, are coming to use their confocal. So it's very difficult. And from these 8 who already have the imaging laboratory, there's only one who make it a core bioimaging facility. It's ITB or SIC, Scientific Imaging Center ITB. It belong here, which can be accessed by all researchers in across Indonesia. From for other university, they make it specific to be used for their own institution because the capacity cannot cover um, researcher from outside. So yeah, now it's centered only in one core bioimaging facility who can be accessed from all across Indonesia. It's very difficult. It's very busy here because every day there are always some user coming from other city and other islands. So I hope next it will be more distributed. And if we talk about the very advanced tool of microscopy, such as super resolution or super resolution light sheet, we still don't have it here in within the country. So there's no very advanced microscopy. The most advanced is a confocal laser scanning microscope for light microscopy, and TEM, transmission electron microscope. We have a cryo EM in Brin, in the research center of National Research Center. Yeah, but it's difficult to access if all researchers from across Indonesia want to use the facility. So that's the biggest challenge. If we see here, basic light microscope is wide available. Electron microscope SEM is more common than TEM. If the institution have TEM, maybe one per institution or maybe less, and then confocal microscopy very limited, only one system per major university, and there's the advanced microscopy is unavailable. But the focus area of imaging application is quite wide. The life science, materials, environment, they started using the imaging technique now. So the research started growing, but to access the facility is quite difficult. And yeah, I try to classify several challenges, the biggest challenges in Indonesia, why the imaging landscape is very few in Indonesia. The first is source of funding, and because the imaging equipment have a high cost, we all know that, and Indonesia is not having a big source of funding to provide development of imaging facility. So that's the biggest problem. And then there are research gap in many research fields. So if we compare, for example, Singapore and Indonesia, quite big gap for the research development. Um, not so many advanced research here. And even though some researcher want to pursue an advanced research, it's they have a constraint about the facility and the instrument they need to use. And then because we are very big islands here in Indonesia, the uneven distribution, such as funding, knowledge, the opportunity is very um, very big. And lack of trained imaging scientists, lack of awareness that the career path of imaging scientists was available, and lack of knowledge and understanding about microscopy technique, and limited national network and opportunity. So that's biggest problem in Indonesia. And then we try to grow. However the concern, however the challenge, uh, our facility try to grow and try to build the growth in Indonesia. So we constantly making a workshop that are open for public all across Indonesia, for researcher across Indonesia, and seminar, group training. So every month we have event, training, and it's open for all researchers in Indonesia, and mostly are free, just to build awareness and just to introduce this imaging technology for a researcher, and make them get used with the system, make them get used or getting interest with the application of research, so they can apply to their research. We constantly trying to building awareness for Indonesian research. And this is training, such as training workshop we conducted every month, and almost every day people are coming here, users are coming here. Even today, currently we are holding a workshop actually here. And this is some documentation. And also we now yeah uh, try to making a network, especially in Southeast Asia, to get a support also and sharing experience between each other, how to develop the community, how to building awareness in their country, especially, for example, Singapore is very well established, has a very well established community, for example. So we really look up to them because, yeah, I think it's very important to develop a community in Indonesia. And through this networking, through this community, yeah, I found some people in other city who also have the same interests, such as Rita, Rahimi, Eri, from other institution in Indonesia. So we now trying to start to make a community in our own region in Indonesia. I know it's quite difficult, quite challenging, but yeah, luckily I'm not alone anymore now. So we now want to start building this community in Indonesia. And yeah, this is iSEA. So we're getting involved also in iSEA and stronger the relationship between Southeast Asia. And in creating purpose and impact, for me, the heart of imaging science lie in its ability to empower. And yeah, whether with training scientists in remote labs or yeah, visualizing the biological process, the imaging helps us tell the stories that matter. So yeah, I really hope that through this SIC Scientific Imaging Center, we can create a purpose and impact to the researcher in Indonesia, empowering the scientists in Indonesia, yeah, and making imaging as a storytelling tool to emphasize the science. And this is just my goal, personal goal. At first, we see only centralized in Java, the imaging laboratory and imaging facility. Hopefully, it can be spread out all across Indonesia so everybody can have the access for this kind of technology to support their research, and we all in Indonesia can have the equal um, quality of research result from each institution. Not only the good result come from Java, but also from other island in Indonesia. So that's the biggest goal. And yeah, I know it's quite challenging, but I think baby step it's very important. And I hope, yeah, the community can support and yep, maybe through sharing experience how they develop it in your own country. And I keep learning from you all in the global community how to develop and how to start to spread out this purpose. And yeah, that's all from me. So yeah, as a summary, the Indonesian imaging ecosystem is still very young. We don't yet have all the infrastructure and recognition that we need, but we do now starting to have a passionate individuals, quite big dreams and willing to start small. Luckily, I found friends and teams, not only in SIC, but across Indonesia, and forging this path as an imaging scientist in Indonesia, which previously was never known, hasn't been easy, but that's exactly why it's worth doing. And yeah, hopefully it can giving an impact one day to Indonesia. So that's all from me. I give it back to Joanna. Thank you very much.